what happened back in 1948, there was a decision, the Alden Rochelle case, which went against ASCAP. And in those days, the agreements that ASCAP had with its writers, the contracts it has with its writers, were exclusive, which meant that ASCAP had to be the negotiating party for you as a writer. You could not negotiate a deal yourself if you were a writer. Under the current contracts, writers and publishers have the option to bypass ASCAP or BMI for that matter, even if they're members or an affiliate of them, and directly license their works to a user. I mean, that's allowed under our consent decree with the government. It's allowed under the consent decree with the government that BMI has. But in those days, they were exclusive, and it was ruled to be an antitrust violation. And unfortunately, from that day on, even though the things that were charged that, how ASCAP lost the case, were corrected after that, meaning non-exclusive licenses or agreements, the provision did stay into effect under the consent decrees. And so in the U.S., there are no motion picture theaters are not paying monies to ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC on it. Unfortunately, throughout the rest of the world, it's a major source of income because in basically what's happening, they all have their own formulas, the performing rights organizations throughout the world. But basically, I always say about 1% of the gross box office is being collected by the local PRO in that territory for all the writers and publishers who have music in all the films. So, and 1% of the box office can be, you think of the movie Titanic, it grossed, I think, $1.3 billion outside the U.S. I mean, if it's 1% of the box office gross, that's 1.3 million, to the writers and publishers. So, there's a significant amount of money out there in the rest of the world in this particular right. Unfortunately, in the United States, movie theaters are not licensed.